All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to tackle a really big idea, a worldview that basically flips our whole concept of progress and economics on its head. It's an idea that's blossomed into a full-blown movement, so let's get right into it.
So let's start with a really provocative question. What if the very system we think brings us prosperity is actually destroying the foundations of life itself? I mean, whoa, that's a heavy question, right? It was first asked by the late philosopher John B. Cobb Jr., and it really gets to the core of the crises we're facing today. This one question, it's the key to everything we're going to talk about.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. We'll start with the problem, this crisis of belief. Then we'll meet the man with a different idea, John Cobb. We'll unpack what he called Earthism, see how that sparked the Living Earth movement, and finally, look at how you can actually put this stuff into practice.
All right, first up, a crisis of belief. We're diving straight into what the sources identify as the root of the problem, this powerful and maybe dangerous ideology of endless growth. So, what do we call this ideology? The term for it is economism. You can think of it as this belief system that says, hey, the market is king, and that our number one goal, our highest good, should be perpetual economic growth. But, and this is a big but, John Cobb argued that this whole worldview is on a collision course with the real world. It's basically eating away at the very foundations, the communities, the ecosystems that it needs to survive.
Okay, so if economism is the problem, who's the person brave enough to call it out? Let's talk about John B. Cobb Jr., a real visionary for the planet.
And just to give you a sense of his impact, the man wrote over 50 books. 50! He lived to be almost 100 years old, and you can tell this wasn't just some passing idea for him. No, this was the culmination of a lifetime of really deep thinking.
And out of all that work, his biggest contribution, the game changer, was giving us a new word, a new North Star to follow. He called it Earthism. And it's exactly what it sounds like, a positive, life-affirming vision meant to be the direct antidote to the crisis of economism.
And this quote right here just nails it. He said, "The Earth is a far more inclusive and suitable object of devotion than economic growth." I mean, think about that. He was basically saying, let's stop worshiping this abstract idea of growth and start devoting ourselves to something real, something we can all be a part of, the Earth.
Okay, so what is this Earthism thing, really? Let's dig in and see what this new moral compass is all about.
You can really see the difference when you put them side by side. On one hand, you've got economicism, which is all about markets, corporations, and buying more stuff. It leads to this mindset of domination and extraction. But on the other side, you have Earthism. It's not about serving markets, it's about serving life. It values sustainability, empowers local people, and, this is key, it sees the Earth not as a pile of resources, but as something sacred.
So, at its core, Earthism gives us this framework for how to live. It's about being ecologically responsible, taking care of the planet. It's about being economically just, so things are fair for everyone. It's about being grounded in our relationships with each other and the Earth. And finally, it's about being spiritually awakened, really seeing the value in all life.
Now, an idea this big can't just live on a page, right? It had to become something real, and that's exactly what happened. It evolved from a philosophy into an actual organization, the Living Earth movement.
And get this, the origin story is pretty special. This nonprofit wasn't started in some boardroom. It was founded to celebrate Dr. Cobb's 97th birthday. It was a gift, a tribute to him, and a way to make sure his incredible vision would carry on.
So what's their mission? Well, it's pretty ambitious. In the short term, they're focused on getting global powers, especially the US and China, to work together on the ecological crisis. But their long game? It's even bigger. They want to build the foundations for a whole new ecological civilization, a society where we finally figure out how to live in harmony with the planet, not against it.
And you can see just how much he believed in this. Right before he passed away, Dr. Cobb actually gifted the movement the copyrights to 2 of his most critical books. It was his way of making sure the intellectual fuel for this movement would never run out.
Okay, so we've got the big idea, and we've got the organization. But what does this look like in the real world? How does it actually work? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the structure and the personal commitments.
So the whole vision for this new civilization doesn't start from the top down. Nope. It starts small. It starts with local communities, empowering the people who actually live in a place to take care of it. Makes sense, right? Who knows the land, water, and air better than them?
But one community can only do so much. So the next step is for these local groups to link up. They connect with their neighbors, they cooperate, and they form what Cobb brilliantly called communities of communities. It's like building a powerful, supportive network.
And that's how you scale it up. You have these interconnected networks, growing from neighborhoods all the way up to nations, creating the very foundation for a totally new kind of global society. One that's not centralized, but cooperative and deeply connected to place.
Of course, it's not just about these big structures. It's also about what we do as individuals. The movement lays out 10 personal commitments for someone who calls themselves an Earthist. You've got things like reverencing all life, living lightly on the planet, actively resisting that system of economism, and helping to build better, life-centered alternatives.
And this last quote from Dr. Cobb really brings it all home. He said it's time to organize, one small group at a time, with one another. It's a powerful reminder that this isn't some top-down directive. It has to be grassroots. It's built by us, together, person by person. Because honestly, what work could possibly be more important?
So that leaves us all with one last really big question. The Earth is calling. Will we answer? You know, John B. Cobb Jr. and the Living Earth movement, they've laid out one possible path, a vision for a world that puts life first. The only question left is, what's our answer going to be? Thanks for joining me.